Thank you all. Thanks so much for being here. Good morning, happy Valentine's Day, and welcome to Gainesville's 2023 State of the City Address. I'm honored to stand in front of you to share this important update on the progress, the achievements, and the hope ahead for the City of Gainesville. We're honored to have with us today representatives from our local high schools. Please join me in welcoming student government office holders from Eastside, GHS, Buchholz, Santa Fe, P.K. Young, and Lofton High Schools. Having recognized these youth leaders, we need to take a moment to consider that today is the tragic anniversary of the massacre at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, and that only last night, in a university community much like our own, several students at Michigan State University were forever taken from their friends and families. Please take a moment to be silent and still with me in remembrance of all victims of gun violence. Thank you, and may their memories be a blessing. In happier news, I want to take a moment to recognize my fellow commissioners. Each of them brings a deep desire to serve this community, and it's a privilege to work beside them. They are, of course, and if you'll stand when I call you, District 1 Commissioner and Mayor Pro Tem Desmond Duncan Walker. District 2 Commissioner and my successor, Ed Book. District 3 Commissioner, Casey Willits. District 4 Commissioner, Brian Eastman. At-large Commissioner, Raina Sacco. And at-large Commissioner, Cynthia Moore-Chestnut. Now, we have some folks with us today with very valid concerns about GRU bills. I want you and them to know that we hear you, that I hear you. Balancing the many financial pressures in our world is hard, and high utility bills cause stress and uncertainty for many in our community and across the nation. We are working with staff regularly to find ways to help, and at this Thursday's commission meeting, I'll have more to share about possible assistance, where appropriate and possible, for families who are most in need. It's always a pleasure to spend time here at the Cade Museum or next door at Depot Park. From this spot, we're not only in the heart of our great city, we're within a short walk of so many other wonderful locations. You can step out these doors and in minutes be in some of our community's most vital and valuable historic neighborhoods, such as Porter's Quarters, Kirkwood, downtown, Spring Hill, places that make Gainesville, Gainesville. So let's agree on this. These places matter. And let's focus on how we know they matter. The story of a place doesn't bubble up out of the ground like the waters of Boulware Springs. The stories come from the people who've lived them, who've created and kept the history, and who carefully pass it down. For that reason, I want to take a moment to acknowledge one of those people who tends to the legacy of the City of Gainesville and its remarkable history. Of course, I'm talking about my good friend and trailblazer, Vivian Filer. Stand here. Ms. Filer is a mother, grandmother, godmother, retired professor of nursing, storyteller, motivational speaker, community advocate, and humanitarian. She's been the driving force behind our community's vital and celebratory journey to Juneteenth tradition. And she's featured in this very museum in a video exhibit about neonatal intensive care. Last year, she received our city's inaugural Historic Preservation Award, which is now named in her honor and will be forever after known as the Vivian Washington Filer Award. So it's my honor to recognize Vivian Filer, my friend, keeper of the legacy of so many pieces of the past for all of us who live in Gainesville. Ms. Filer's personal history intersects with the story of our city in so many ways, and that's why I asked her to present the first two history moments at this year's City Commission meetings. Thank you once again. If you've seen our City Commission meetings, you're familiar with the next group I'm going to introduce. There are 6 charter officers who manage our outstanding team of 2,400 committed community builders, the workforce that keeps our city running. I'm proud of this group of leaders, and I'm going to introduce them and ask them to stand. Hold your applause, if you would, till the end of this group. Interim City Auditor Brecca Anderson, Director of Equity and Inclusion Zariah Folston, City Attorney Dan Nee, City Clerk Michelle Gainey, General Manager of the Utilities Anthony Cunningham, and City Manager Cynthia Williams Curry. And I want you to know how much I appreciate our commission bringing forward the opportunity for these folks to be permanent charter officers mostly. So applause to the commission for that. Thank you. I have tremendous faith in all our charter officers, and I know they will work to keep our city safe and strong. And yes, I do believe the state of our city is strong. We have challenges, as all cities do. One of the things I've discovered as a new mayor, talking to and learning from other mayors around the country, is that our challenges are similar to those faced by so many other cities. But I've also found something else. The truth is that we're closer to solving those challenges than a lot of other cities are. We're moving forward more steadily here in Gainesville because of the quality of our community, the dedication of our partners, and the good ideas and participation of our neighbors. So let's take a moment to focus on the direction we're heading. We take pride in the initiatives and programs that make Gainesville a special community. And part of what makes us special is that we're growing to become a more equitable community. That's going to happen 3 or 4 more times out here, y'all, so just be ready. We want, in fact, we need to guarantee that everyone in Gainesville lives and thrives. This is the driving force behind projects aimed at improving community opportunities, promoting economic and social justice, and making our city a place where all neighbors know they have a fair and equal opportunity to have a home, a job, access to health care and transportation, and a bright, clear view of the road ahead. For our neighbors who have left behind the places they knew for a fresh start in Gainesville, that means helping them thrive as they share their talent and ideas and build their families and dreams in a place that offers accessibility of language and other resources. So let's hear from Commissioner Sacco for a moment about some of the things we're working on to make our city more welcoming for everyone.
Believe it or not, Gainesville is a thriving international city. Thanks to our many students, our residents, our medical professionals, people who come from all over the world. And because of that, we want our city to be as inclusive as possible. Some community leaders partnered with city staff to create Ginny, the Gainesville Immigrant Neighbors Initiative. And it had a mission to make sure our city is accessible and friendly, regardless of where you come from. One of those first steps was making sure we had a translation line. Now when you call any of our city departments, there will be an interpreter with your language available for you free of cost. Regardless of what department you're calling, we want to make sure that our programming, our projects, our city is available to those who live here. One of those departments that we are most proud of is GPD. We have certified bilingual interpreters available among our police force. Those are officers who are native speakers or fluent speakers of another language. Those officers can respond to a scene and deal with victims, witnesses, whoever is on the scene in their own language without having to get an interpreter on the phone. Another one of those efforts was making sure that we had adequate document translation available. So that means if you're enrolling your kid for an aftercare program or getting a building permit for your house, that document will be translated into your language of choice, interpreted back into English for our city workers, and then your responses will be given back to you in your language. We want to make sure that everyone has the ability to live and thrive in Gainesville.
Now, we all know that true equality only comes when there's economic justice. That's why we're dedicated to helping more families attain the dream of home ownership. To reduce the shortage of affordable housing, the city has donated 11 vacant lots in the Duval community to Alachua Habitat for Humanity. The homes built on these properties will remain permanently affordable through a requirement limiting current and future sales to income-qualified buyers. 2 families are already in their new homes thanks to this program. To support a resilient local economy, the city has also launched a study to look for potential differences in the ways we search for and hire businesses when we're in the market for goods and services. We want to make sure minority and women-owned businesses have a fair shake when it comes to getting City of Gainesville contracts. We're proud of Gainesville's Heirs Property Assistance Program. This is a way for those who have inherited a home or property in the city's community reinvestment area to get free legal probate assistance. This helps people whose properties lack a clear title and are not eligible for homestead tax exemptions, federal home improvement grants, proper insurance, and a variety of other things. So far, in only a year of work, we can report that 39 families have received crucial assistance from our Heirs Property Assistance Program. When it comes to these principles of equity and inclusion, we look to role models, people like my courageous friend, Evelyn Fox. Evelyn is known to many of you as the president of the Alachua County branch of the NAACP. She's a passionate advocate for equity and justice and has worked for more than 20 years to tackle racial discrimination in our community and stand up for the rights of all people. This was never more evident than in her fight for positive change in our schools, our business community, our government, and our justice system. Ms. Fox was appointed by the City Commission to the Police Advisory Committee. She is the recipient of the 2018 MLK Keeper of the Dream Award, and she has received the Women Who Make a Difference Award from the Girl Scouts of America. She serves on the board of the Gainesville Community Reinvestment Area, and she has served on our city's Parks and Recreation Board as chairwoman of the Gainesville Housing Authority and has been named the Alachua County Democrat of the Year and has received the Santa Fe College Women of Distinction Award and the Florida State Conference NAACP Award. Ms. Fox is also a member and regular worshiper at Day Spring Missionary Baptist Church, and I am very happy to have her here today. It's my honor to welcome her as one of my guests to the State of the City. Thank you. I want to highlight the exceptional way our city merges equity and inclusion with diversity and culture. We use our history and our community's unique character to build powerful cultural traditions and events that tell the story of who we are. We stand shoulder to shoulder for the journey to Juneteenth. Not only do we mark the day the last enslaved people living in Galveston, Texas heard the news that they were free on June 19, 1865, we begin the celebration on the anniversary of the day freedom was proclaimed in Florida. So from May 20th through June 19th, the City of Gainesville's month-long journey to Juneteenth honors the long and turbulent journey of moving to freedom. Now, if we're going to go after the title of the cultural capital of Florida, and I believe Gainesville is on the path to being exactly that, we must continue with celebrations like Journey to Juneteenth. We'll continue to make choices like inviting Florida highwayman artist Al Black to paint a public mural. We'll move forward toward the hope ahead by following the lead of Commissioner Duncan Walker, who has faith we can use the power of the arts to bring new health and healing to our community.
I'm standing here in the historic home of A. Quinn Jones, one of the crown jewels of District 1 and the City of Gainesville. This A. Quinn Jones Museum and Cultural Arts Center is a place of significance, not only for its ability to take us into the past, teaching us our valued and cherished history, but it's an opportunity also for us to bring community together, to have informed conversations, to educate, to empower, and inspire. Cultural arts centers just like this have been proven to address root causes of violence. We understand that that is a critical need in our city right now. With the City of Gainesville recently having declared gun violence as a crisis, this space is more important now than ever. The work that is being done at the A. Quinn Jones Museum and Cultural Center is a wonderful beginning for what we have to look forward to. The City of Gainesville has recently unanimously approved the creation of a brand new cultural arts facility that will help to bring communities throughout this entire city together to address the root causes of violence and other systemic issues that we face. I look forward to continuing to support art and culture in making the City of Gainesville a wonderful place for us all to live.
As Commissioner Duncan Walker just stated there, Gainesville is a wonderful place to live. And we all make that happen in a number of ways, large and small. We do it by continuing to believe in the potential of initiatives like wild spaces, public places. Thanks to your willingness to support this surcharge for parks, natural areas, and infrastructure, the Clarence R. Kelly Center reopened last June, complete with a new playground, adult fitness equipment, an event lawn, walking trail, garden learning lab, and a lighted basketball court. We're also busy renovating Albert Ray Massey Park and H. Spurgeon Cherry Pool, better known to most of you as Westside Park and Westside Pool. The park will soon be fully inclusive with equipment that offers physical, social, and sensory play experiences for children of all ages and abilities. We're proud of our newest nature center at the Hogtown Creek Headwaters Nature Park with its recently restored historic farmhouse. If you haven't been there, you need to make a plan to go. It's fantastic. Commissioner Willits has more information about how we're listening to what you want to see next from Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs.
2023 is an exciting time for Gainesville, especially for Gainesville Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. In 2022, in the fall, Alachua County voters, led by Gainesville voters, passed the continuation of our tax funding for wild spaces, public places. So what we're doing this year is we're doing a needs assessment to ask our residents and neighbors in Gainesville about what they would like to see in their parks, and that will help us form an update to our parks master plan. Residents will have seen the recent renovations to Westside Park, and in 2023 we're going to be doing a lot of work right here in Southwest Gainesville at Forest Park. We're going to be regrading soccer fields, returfing them, rebuilding volleyball pits, adding 2 dog parks, and we'll be adding lighting so that the hours for these sports fields will be extended into the evenings. So across Gainesville, with Wild Spaces Public Places funding, we have the opportunity to really renovate, rejuvenate, and even build new parks for Gainesville.
Whether the facility is new or not so new, we can promise one thing will stay the same. Parks and athletics will continue to go hand in hand. We want teens across the city to know about Teen Midnight Basketball, a new 3-on-3 basketball program that offers monthly athletic opportunities during late-night weekend hours and is held monthly on the first Friday night from April to August at the Martin Luther King Jr. Multipurpose Center. Other changes are also in store for the MLK Center. We have exceptional and creative ideas for building a new dream in East Gainesville by turning the center and Citizens Field into something completely transformational. Let's hear from Commissioner Chestnut, who's spearheading this effort.
For years, our neighbors on the east side of town have asked for economic development, something transformational that will change the tone, the economy for us on the east side of town. And so here I stand in our field of dreams, Citizens Field, Citizens Stadium. Our plan is to either redo it, remodel it, implode it, but to bring back a new and exciting and revised Citizens Stadium. That's the first portion we're going to do in our whole transformation. We'll start with Citizens Stadium and looking at 8,000 to 10,000 seats, a press room, new locker rooms, new concession stands, and overall just a brand new field for our citizens. We're looking at putting a track and field around the football field. We hope to get started on this project, this process, very, very soon. We'll be funded with Wild Spaces Public Places funds and Gainesville Community Reinvestment Act. Once we complete Citizens Stadium, then we will move to the MLK Center, where we hope to double the size, provide group exercise rooms, provide a senior meeting area, and to provide space for, let's say, an antique show or a church banquet. But we will have space for basketball courts, pickleball, of course, and an exciting array of events will be planned for young people and all of our neighbors. So join us on this journey as we set out to transform the east side of town with the East Gainesville Sports Complex. We're very excited. It's going to be a great transformation.
I'm very excited about renovating and whatever else we need to do with Citizens Field. And I want our high schoolers to know. I know many of you have probably played sports on that field or been in band on that field. And I want you to know that we have this in common, you and I, because it doesn't look any different now than it did back in the early 80s when I was there. That's going to change. Of course, to make Gainesville better, to keep us growing and moving, there are challenges that need to be met and obstacles to overcome. For the past several years, we've seen far too many pedestrians and cyclists die on streets in our city. Recently, the City of Gainesville and Alachua County agreed together that enough is enough and declared a traffic violence crisis in Gainesville. It was entirely coincidental, but perhaps providential, that only days after we declared that crisis, the Biden administration announced that Gainesville has been awarded $8 million to help rebuild the most heavily traveled 4 miles of University Avenue. It will become a complete street with slower traffic, better sidewalks, better landscaped islands. We couldn't be more appreciative for this much-needed funding. And while this is just the start, it's a big start, and it gets us moving faster than we ever could have done otherwise. As you know, the realities of traffic violence are often responded to in the moment by our hardworking and highly trained first responders. I want to take a moment and recognize and honor the dedicated professionals at Gainesville Fire Rescue who are called to be first on the scene. Please join me in thanking Lieutenant Drew Halverson and Lieutenant Joel Graves and all the team at GFR for responding to the calls that come daily from our community. I want to turn now to Commissioner Brian Eastman, who will share his thoughts on the traffic issue, along with another of the challenges we're facing, climate change and sustainability.
I'm incredibly excited to be joining the Gainesville City Commission, to be working with my colleagues to really try to solve problems for people. I knocked on thousands of doors over the course of the campaign and heard a lot of issues that people want to see us address and things that I want to see us address to make Gainesville the city that we would all like to see. I heard from parents that were worried about how their kids were going to get to school, who wanted to ensure that streets were safe for bike and pedestrians so that we can allow people to move around our city in a number of ways to create a more walkable, bikeable city that will make us more sustainable, that will make us safer, and just make us a more vibrant city overall. I'm excited to work on ensuring that we have affordable housing options for more people, and that housing is affordable, whether or not you're a young working family, whether or not you're retiring and looking for a different type of house, or whether you find yourself on hard luck and you're homeless. We need to make sure that there's a place for everyone in our city. I want to ensure that we are working on our zero waste goals, that we are reducing waste, that we are expanding our residential composting program, that we are making multifamily recycling more effective and efficient for people to utilize, and really ensuring that we can reduce our waste overall and create a more sustainable future for our children. Work on climate change goals. I'm really excited to work toward our goal of becoming net zero by 2045, expanding out our renewable energy, expanding out the ways that we can move into the 21st century in a way that allows our utility to be both efficient, sustainable, and affordable for more of our residents.
Concern and caring for all of our residents is one of the things that makes Gainesville special. The shortage of affordable housing has only worsened the problem of homelessness. We are determined to help and support our neighbors who are without a roof over their head to call their home. My friend John DeCarmine from Grace Marketplace reports that Grace helped end homelessness for 429 people last year. Since 2014, more than 2,500 have been housed. But although John and his team are working every single day to alleviate the problem of homelessness in our community, we continue to fall short. I am committed, and I believe we are all committed, to making Gainesville a community where chronic homelessness is a thing of the past. We will need all our institutional partners to be true partners in this. I've spoken with leaders at the University of Florida and Santa Fe College, with Eric Godet at the Chamber of Commerce, and with the County Commission Chair Anna Prizia about these partnerships, and I believe we are on the verge of making real progress for our houseless neighbors. I can tell you this, we will not achieve greatness as long as we step over our sisters and our brothers who sleep on our streets and in our woods. Also recently, in response to the growing national and local level of gun violence, and as you heard from Commissioner Duncan Walker, we've declared a gun violence crisis in our community. As with traffic violence, there are many faces of trauma that accompany gun violence. On the front lines of response are community builders like Sergeant Farrah Lormill and Officer Amanda Figueredo of the Gainesville Police Department. Officer Figueredo, we're proud to say, was our GPD Officer of the Year. I'll stand. I want to thank them both and everyone at GPD for being front and center in keeping our community safe. We're committed to working not only with our own police, but with law enforcement and elected leaders from around our region. Of course, the only way forward includes listening to our neighbors in the areas most affected. And beginning with our new Public Safety Committee, we'll be doing a great deal of that listening. The work of safety depends on many partners, and Gainesville was selected last year by the National League of Cities to participate in the One Nation, One Project initiative. The goal is to use art and creativity to teach young people new opportunities to learn and grow. We're also creating new opportunities for young people of all backgrounds in our community with our partners at Santa Fe College and Career Source of North Central Florida. Together, we've established the city's first public service academy. This new educational program for area youth and young adults is designed to provide students with a solid foundation in communications, first aid, and emergency management. The pilot program will prepare them for the education and training needed for positions at the Gainesville Police Department, Gainesville Fire Rescue, and Gainesville Regional Utilities. We're proud to share with you that through our utility, Gainesville is positioning itself as a leader in sustainability. Right now, the average electric utility in Florida produces about 4% of its power from renewable sources. That isn't good enough for Gainesville, where we've already committed to 100% renewability. Right now, in any given month, GRU produces about a third of our power, of the power we're using right now to light this room and power this microphone, from renewable sources. Later this week, the Commission will be considering an opportunity that will get us close to 50% renewability already with utility-scale solar energy. We're close to breaking ground on one of the most exciting partnerships in years at the Eastside Health and Transit Hub on Hawthorne Road. The City of Gainesville, Alachua County, the University of Florida, and the federal government are all in partnership on a health clinic, an RTS station, and so much more on Hawthorne Road. You'll see the beginnings of this $25 million effort to serve our out east neighbors before next year's State of the City address. As with the Eastside Health and Transit Hub on Hawthorne Road, we'll see about $20 million invested at 8th Avenue and Waldo Road. I'm thrilled to be a part of this amazing development, these amazing developments, that will serve not only East Gainesville, but all of Gainesville. I want to introduce now a new way to share these things we've been speaking about. For years, at least as long as I've been on the Commission, we've talked and talked about how important it is to measure what we're working on and to be transparent about what works and where we still have work to do. I'm so pleased today to unveil the first phase of this dashboard project, Thrive GNV. Now, you'll see some screenshots here, but you're going to be able, it's live right now, to go to thrivegnv.com and see updated numbers on issues that are important to this community, and with some historical context. Pedestrian and cyclist safety data is there, data on crime and gun violence from GPD, fire rescue responses from GFR are there, information on Gainesville's use of renewable energy, and important community demographics are all going to be available. Many are already available at thrivegnv.com, and I hope you'll make good and regular use of that. You will see it change and improve as we go, but again, we've been talking about this for many, many years, and seeing it actually live and working is a huge step forward for our community. This is not the end-all and be-all of dashboard reports. It's just the next right thing. We'll add content, including things like data visualization on housing starts and finishes. We'll be able to compare the things we're measuring to peer cities. I believe it's really important to compare how we're doing against cities that are like our own. If we operate in an information vacuum, we don't honestly know if we're making progress or not. And if we compare ourselves to much larger cities like Austin or Seattle or Minneapolis, we're always going to come up short. I think we need to know how we measure up against places like Tallahassee and Athens and Knoxville and both Columbias, South Carolina and Missouri, cities where the neighbors are similar to ours and where the economies are driven by similar engines. I've reached out already to leaders in each of these cities, and we'll be regularly comparing notes to report back to you. I believe Thrive GNV will be a great venue for those reports as we continue to develop and move them forward. I want to mention one last thing as we move to a close here that has always perplexed me about our town. I've been here a fairly long time, and I've noticed that while we're really good at celebrating sports championships, although we need to bring a few of those back around, we shy away from celebrating our everyday wins and the things that make Gainesville special. There's so much that is right about the state of our city that I could stand here and talk to you all day about it. And I want us to do more of that. I want us to recognize the days when we get it right, and we get it right a lot. I want us to get better at celebrating each other, to spend a little more time doing victory laps around the things that bring us together, and maybe a little less time on what drives us apart. Commissioner Book is focused on bringing us together through a renewed emphasis on something that's well known here in the South, our hospitality. At our commission meetings, we value respect, civility, and an openness to new ideas.
The way I feel when I was elected and the way that I feel that's important as it relates to serving the city of Gainesville is that regardless of where you live and what district you represent, you really represent all citizens' interests and all community interests. That's very important to me. So the question is, what are some of the things that I may be interested in? Well, I think it starts with this concept, and I've spoken about this for the last year. It's called civility. And civility is the way that you treat people, the manner in which you respect somebody, the way that you collaborate are all essential for us to doing things well. It does not mean we have to agree. It means that we respect the values that we hold, and then we get the things done that will matter most to those members of the community. So civility is one of the key things for me as a Gainesville City Commissioner. I want the city to see, our community residents and neighbors and people who live, work, and play see. So that's important to me also. Simply supporting staff and the work of our over 2,000 city employees that make this city run and make it the vital, energizing area that we want it to be is important. I'm in a learning curve myself, so I'm very, very grateful the fact that I was elected, and for 4 years, my job is to do what the community has as their greatest interest, and hopefully I can share that and provide that through the elected body that's the City Commission.
And together we're going to recognize an important part of our Gainesville community. I'm talking about the Community Foundation of North Central Florida. So I want to invite the Foundation's Executive Director, Barzella Papa, up here as well. Over her years with the North Central Florida Community Foundation, Ms. Papa has overseen the distribution of more than $40 million in grants and support to charitable organizations. With a mission to promote and sustain philanthropy in North Central Florida, this work is invaluable. The Community Foundation of North Central Florida is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year, and we've got a proclamation to help celebrate that milestone. So I'm going to read that. Whereas, this year marks the 25th anniversary of the Community Foundation of North Central Florida, and what started out as a vision of its founders has grown into a permanent philanthropic resource, creating change and addressing our community's pressing needs. And whereas, since its inception, the Foundation has awarded more than $40 million in grants and support to charitable organizations in our community, and whereas the Foundation has built charitable assets totaling more than $50 million in current and planned funds for the purpose of serving Gainesville and our surrounding communities. And whereas the Foundation has launched successful initiatives, including the Women's Giving Circle, the Amazing Give, the Philanthropy Hub, And whereas the foundation has trained 88 local nonprofit organizations and more than 400 individuals for board service through its Center for Nonprofit Excellence. And whereas the Community Foundation of North Central Florida will celebrate this milestone anniversary through 2023 with all of its partners and the community. Now, therefore, I, Harvey L. Ward Jr., by the authority vested in me as mayor of the City of Gainesville, do hereby proclaim February 14th, 2023 as Community Foundation of North Central Florida Day in the City of Gainesville, and invite all our neighbors to join me in supporting the Community Foundation and all its upcoming anniversary events, as well as its good work for all our neighbors. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the official seal of the City of Gainesville, Florida, this 14th day of February 2023. So, let's wrap up and thank everyone involved in making today a success. I want to especially thank our clerk's office and our general government communications department for all the enthusiastic work that goes into making events like this a success. But most of all, I want to thank you for being a part of the event today and for being my neighbor. Gainesville is special because you are special. Thank you, and have a great Valentine's Day.